The Northtown News Magazine is brought to you in part by the Chicago Police Memorial Foundation, caring for the families of slain and seriously injured officers.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson, and welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson, and welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
For the identity of the real Marty Levinson, please stay tuned for the Northtown News Magazine.
Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that lemon light city, sweet home Chicago. 2 is 4.
Hey there, I am really Marty Levinson. Don't let anybody fool you. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine show with the greatest cameraman around, Sonny Hirsch, and your host, Avi Myers.
Thank you, Marty. Avi Myers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. On the web, ntnm.org, Jewish Chicago, Tra-la, Tra-la will be coming out mid-October, right before early voting, for your early voting pleasure. It's going to be free all over the place. We're going to have our biggest circulation ever. We're estimating well over 60,000, not to mention the great web readership. So if you want to get included, you know who to call. Sonny, no, call me. Anyway, it is a pleasure to introduce you to, and by the way, we're also big on community policing, caps24.org. That's a website Sonny runs in his spare time. The president of the Shomrim Society, which is, the organization for Jewish police officers and law enforcement professionals and things like that in the state of Illinois. And we want to welcome Captain Marc Buslik of the Chicago Police Department. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
First of all, it's a pleasure. It was a pleasure to meet you at the Jewish Fest, and it was interesting to me how many guys behind the table actually knew me, because I've interviewed enough police over the years, and the yarmulke does help.
Good.
So, no, that was kind of cool. And by the way, also your viewership compared to the other guests is actually one of the higher numbers.
Really?
That keeps going up. Yeah.
Well, everybody's interested in the police and what we do and how we do it, and there's this sort of natural following, and the idea is to try to leverage that and get a message out. So
Yeah.
we try.
What district are you working out of?
I'm in the 14th district. I'm assigned as the district executive officer, which is essentially the second in command. Those of you who are familiar with the military model, you're basically the second in command of the fort, or if you're on a ship in the Navy, you'd be the second in command. So.
Oh, very good. So where is the 14th district?
It's the Shakespeare district. The police station's actually on California, just south of Milwaukee, about 2,200 north, right by the Blue Line station.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that I'm familiar with. California actually doesn't cut through all the way. I'm
Right.
actually just a block off California, for those of you who don't know where I am. So anyway, that's kind of cool. So how long have you been on the force?
I've been with the police department a little over 34 years now.
Nice.
It has been nice, yes. It's been a very rewarding career. I had an opportunity to do some very interesting work, and it's been very good.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about? I mean, I don't want to get you any political trouble or anything like that, but what are your thoughts about what's going on today with the police and the city and crime in general? I mean, whatever you'd like to address.
Well, I can dance around topics as well as anybody else.
See, he's honest. I like that.
Yes. I think that the news media is doing a very good job of selling newspapers and advertising time on the nightly news. And in doing that, they are picking and choosing what they feel sells. And unfortunately, it's shedding a negative light where it doesn't need to be. So the bottom line is, reported crime is down in the city of Chicago. we are dealing with violent crime, violent street level crime, in a way that is addressing the nature of that crime. And we're doing so in some innovative ways. Look, nobody likes anybody being the victim of a violent crime. Certainly not a police officer liking it. That being said, we understand that in a city of 2.8 million people, there's going to be crime. So our job then, while we're shooting for the ultimate goal of no crime, is to address the crime that exists and intervene and try to impact that. I think we're doing a good job. Sometimes the message that the superintendent of police is putting out there isn't heard, but I think it's a reasonable and fair message. And the bad stuff gets played up, and it's a shame because it's not as bad as it appears.
People don't realize that as much as the murders in Chicago were highlighted for being so high, they're less than half of what they were 10 years ago.
Well, it's different, yes, and we like to use that. We like to use those comparisons, but there's a lot of other factors. In the early 1990s, late 1980s, during what's colloquially known as the crack epidemic, murders were very high. There lots of people were being shot because it was about establishing drug market territories. So there was a lot of violence because of that. And yes, we are down less than half of that. We're at 900 murders a year. But there are a lot of things that play into what crime is about. And here in Chicago, the thing to remember is that the kind of violent crime that attracts attention is generally gang-related. If you're not in a gang, if you're not involved in the drug trade, Chicago's a relatively safe city.
Extremely, and most neighborhoods aren't
That's right.
touched.
Right. And as a result, because we are able to identify the communities that are suffering the greatest, that's where we're applying our resources and our strategies. And you had mentioned about more police officers. It isn't how many police officers we have. The issue is, what are we doing with the officers that we do have? And that's the thing that matters. And that's why we have a variety of strategies. That's why the police department is saying, hey, we're going to do these things that are going to target the problem. And if the problem is a piece of geography, because of the nature of the geography, then we'll target that geography. And that might mean, for instance, it's easy for people to get off the expressway and buy drugs down this street. Well, we're going to do something about that geography then. You build a cul-de-sac, or you ensure that the streets are one way. If the problem is with an individual, then we target the individual. We identify who the gang leaders are. We identify those people who are most likely to be involved in violence, either as an offender or even as a victim, and we create interventions for that. Because our goal then is to reduce the violence. We don't want people getting hurt, whether it's one gang member shooting another gang member, or in the case the other day of a little girl playing at a sleepover. That's reprehensible. Nobody accepts that. And all of the efforts are at targeting whatever's causing that crime, whether it's a person or a place or something going on in the community. That's what we're doing. That's what we try to do. Doesn't work 100% of the time, but it works. It does work.
Yeah, I'm going to have you back because we've got less than a minute to go, and there's a lot of stuff I want to bring up. But I at least want you to mention the Shomrim Society and how people
okay.
can contact it real quick.
Sure. Shomrim Society is a fraternal and social organization for Jews who are in law enforcement, police officers, federal agents, as associate members, state's attorneys, judges. We can be reached at www.shomrimillinois.org is our website, and you can find out a little bit about us.
Okay. At that point, we're really out of time. So
I'm sorry.
I want to thank you very much. We'll have you back. We can talk more.
Yeah, I'd
Captain
love to.
Marc Buslik, thank you so much for being here.
Okay, thank you.